this session was set up as in a response to some feedback that we got from the last town hall, where people felt like they wanted a place to come and ask their questions of the Workday operations team. And so that's what we are here to do today. Is the goal is just to have an open conversation and offer practical support and give you that expertise from the operations team. So several of those members of the team are here on the call. So again, you can ask questions, share tips, discuss challenges. That's our goal for today. So before we dive into that, I did want to introduce the Workday operations team. I won't go through every member, but this team keeps HCM and finance running in Workday. So after helping build the system, this is the team that's now focusing on optimizing it and supporting the community as we all continue to learn the new system. So our ongoing focus is also on issue tracking, enhancements, and training support. So topics for today, we have representation from several areas of campus. So it could be an HCM topic if you have a question or feedback on hiring, positions, time and absence, employee data or security roles, or maybe you have a finance topic like expenses, journals, grants, budgets, or reporting. That's what we're here to talk about today. Let's see. It looks like we have a question before I keep going. Martha?
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I just have a question. I noticed something the other day, and I don't know if it's possible or not, because I don't know what other reporting would be coming from this, but this has to do again with the expense reporting side of things. And I know the travel team is down a person right now, but what is happening is, let's say I have an expense report that I submit on 4/25, for instance, and it takes 7 business days or so, right, for it to get through the system and get all approved. And then it's now into May, and I go to pull all of my expenses for April on May 1st, let's say, but the report gets approved on May 3rd. When I pull on May 1st, it's not showing up yet because it's still sitting out there pending, which isn't that big of a deal. But when it hits, it's going back to the date that I submitted it in the expense reporting system. So that 4/25 date. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't hit, let's say it gets approved on 5/3, like it's finally made it all the way through the system. The travel team said, yep, we're good to go ahead and pay this person. It goes and grabs the date that I originally submitted that expense report. And that's what shows up in the finance side, in the expense side.
So, hi, everyone. Just to clarify, so you're submitting it on 4/18 or sometime in April. We're approving it on 5/3, and when you search that expense report, it's still showing your submission date.
So I'm not talking anything now about in Workday itself. I'm talking about when it posts on the back end financially. It's going back to the date that I submitted it through the expense system. Does that make sense? And y'all need time to do your job. But if I hit it on the cusp and I pull for May, let's say May 1st, and the date on the report is 4/25, and I go through and I track all that, I could go back in at the end of May and pull again for April, and there's a bunch of expenses there that weren't there before because it kind of hit weird. Does that make sense?
And this is reporting in Workday, or?
Yeah, so it'll pull, the expense will go back and post to Workday on that 4/25 date. It doesn't post on the date that you all approved it.
Yeah, so Workday is based on the submission dates.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess here's my question. Can Workday be changed to be the date that it gets approved?
I don't know about that one. Can it be changed?
Sounds like maybe we need a workshop this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, it's not the end of the world. It's just that if you're the person that's responsible for the finances and you're going in once a month and you're pulling everything, I actually have to maybe almost go in. I have to do the previous month, and then at the end of the next month, I should go back. I have to go back and I have to pull everything else if it's right on that cutoff. Does that make sense?
Is there anybody on the call who can speak to the different kinds of dates that there are attached to each transaction? Because I don't think that the posting period is still open. Like if it doesn't get fully approved and posted until May, I doubt that April is still available as a posting period. I don't know what how you're reporting on it, because you're probably reporting on a designated and I report on grants mostly, so it's a little different. But can somebody speak to the different types of dates and how they might impact reporting? There's an accounting date, there's a budget date. Does that help at all? Melissa, Vernador, can you speak to that at all?
So there's also and other Melissa, you'll have to help me remember the exact verbiage of it. I was trying to pull up the report, but it was like basically like the last touch date. So it was like the last time that it had been approved, or but it's like or Sherry, do you remember what it's called?
I believe it's called last posted date.
Yeah.
There's a transaction date.
But I don't know about it on an
accounting
expense
date.
report. That's the only thing.
Yeah, could you send us the expense report number and see if we can track it, please?
Because that data is helpful that we've used personally, like within our department, in some reporting and things like that to help with cutoff dates.
Right. Okay. I'll send one as an example that got approved. Like, yeah, I can send an example. So what Alexis was saying is it goes back to the submission date. So if I submit it on 4/25 and then it finally makes its way through and gets approved on 5/3, it's going back and posting on that 4/25 date on the expense side.
Okay, 5/3 was Sunday. And
I'm just using dates as an example. This is not a real life.
Okay.
So
then definitely send us what you got.
If I pull stuff at the end, at the beginning of the month for the previous month, and there's anything that's sitting out there that's still in that previous month that hasn't made it all the way through yet, and I pull for May, it doesn't show up until it posts, and then I have to go back in and pull April in order to see it because it's in that previous month. So it's not like happening all the time. It's just if I have stuff that's right on that line.
Martha, are you pulling from Click or are you pulling directly from Workday?
I'm pulling from Click.
If you're pulling from Click, one of the things that you might try to do is there is a filter on, give me 1 second, I can probably pull it up, on the accounting that is for in-process journal entries. And that actually might give you what you need. I'm working my way there. Just give me a second. Sorry. So you're using the budget status sheet in Click, right?
Yes.
Okay. Under the line status, there is an item there that says journal in progress. I'm thinking that if you filter and include that will give you those that have been submitted into the system, but not yet approved.
Okay, I'll try that. Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
Thanks, team, for workshopping this on the outside. Erin, did we have things to share for the whole group before we want to dig into other questions from the team. I also want to make sure, thank you to all of our work stream leads that joined us today. I want to make sure we give them a chance to have a minute to share things they're excited about, things they're working on, challenges that they're having, to bring some context to those on the call. So you might understand why some of your requests are lagging or you're not getting the response that you're looking for. So hopefully we can fit all of that in this hour. But with that, I'll turn it back to you, Erin.
Thank you. We just had one thing that we wanted to show the group before we get into the Q&A, and that was, we talked a little bit about this in the last town hall, but we developed a reporting and enhancement dashboard that you all can see in the Workday support portal, and I will pull that up here. So you all should be familiar with this landing page in the Workday support portal. We now have this new tab here for a public dashboard. And what this is it will show you the Workday reporting tickets and the Workday enhancement tickets, just to give you some visibility into what's closed, new, what's in process. So for reporting, you can see here what's closed, new, in process, on hold, or canceled. And then below, it'll have the titles of all of the tickets that are currently either new or in process. You can filter the status to see what the status is, but this gives some transparency into what the team is working on for both reporting and enhancements. So we wanted to show you this. This is new. So this is available now in the Workday support portal. You can also submit enhancement requests through the homepage where we have this button, suggest a Workday enhancement. So if you would like to do that, you can do that there. So we wanted to show this to you all. This is kind of a first run at this. So if you have any feedback, please let us know so we can continue to improve it and make sure it's usable for you and helpful. So I will stop sharing my screen, but that's the only thing that we really wanted to show before we dive in. So we can go ahead and get into the Q&A. If you could, like Martha did, use the raise hand feature, we will call on you in the order that you raise your hand. If you want to drop a question in the chat, we can keep an eye over on the chat as well. So
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Martha broke the ice, so it should be easy for question number 2 to come up. Thank you for that, Martha. Faith, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I dabble in the learning section. So I sometimes do in-person training that we like to capture in Workday. And so I have a course designed in Workday, but I'm not sure how to add like future events and get the staff added to those events.
Hi, Faith. Did you do the learning partner training that Kathy did?
No, I'm fairly new to this within the last month. So if it was within that time, either I didn't know about it or maybe it was before that time. You helped me privately when I put in a ticket. And we worked through my first problem then, but now it's the problem of going forward.
Not a problem. I'm not sure. So what you're going to do, maybe other people need to know this too. If you didn't do the learning partner training, then you might not have that access. And so that's a bigger process that we need to go through. So number one, that's what you would need to have. But for others who might have that access and who have the same question, that's where you're going to do the create a blended course. And when you create that blended course, you'll create that shell, and then it's the lessons that you add in that's going to allow you to schedule course offerings, whether it's now or in the future. And those are all things that we can walk through as well, but we need to get you that access first.
So when you say access, so I have access as a learning admin, But I don't know is that training recorded or are there ongoing sessions? I haven't been made familiar with the training.
Okay. So I'm in the process of creating that digital training. We're going to hopefully have that available in July. Right now, it's in testing. I'm going to open something up here on my screen and then I'll share it. Show you.
And I'm going to interject real quick, Wendy. I can confirm that Faith has learning partners, so we're good there.
Okay. Thank you, Nick. Okay, so when you're here and you do create a course, you're going to create a blended course. And you'll go through and you'll put in all of the information for that course. And this is a very truncated version of what you need to do, but we can also work together on what that is. But then what you're going to do is you'll do in-person classroom, instructor-led. And you will add that there. This is not where you're going to put any future course offerings. This is just creating the possibility for it. And then when you hit submit and you've created that course, then you can go back and do schedule course offerings. And then that's where you can add in dates, times, places of your in-person or instructor-led. Answer your question a little bit.
Yeah, kind of. Thank you. I'll try it out myself, and then if I have a problem, I'll just submit a ticket. Thank you.
You're welcome. We also have, Erin, do you have that handy real quick?
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Okay, thank you. We do have the job aids that are in the chat, or not in the chat, on the Workday site as well. And you should be able to go through and pull it up side by side with the Guide Me feature, and it can help you build the course there too.
And Wendy, we also have the different parts of the Learning Partner training, the recordings on the launch site as well. So for people like Faith, who maybe are newer to being a learning partner, who came after you did, or Kathy did the training, is that the recommendation for them to watch those recordings?
It absolutely is, yep.
Okay. So yeah, Faith, if you go to the link that I posted in the chat and search learning in the search bar, you'll get all of those job aids that Wendy was talking about, as well as the recordings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, well, oh, Nick, go ahead.
This isn't so much a question, but it's I'll fill some space, right? So while folks think of their questions. So this is in response to Martha actually had submitted something about spend authorizations in the last one of these we had. So for anybody that was on that, there's some history there where historical spend authorizations aren't showing up in certain reporting. And Workday has identified that as an issue, and they plan to deliver a fix this weekend during our refresh. So that's something to look forward to next week, hopefully.
Great job, team, for submitting that as a bug. I guess that's encouragement to keep that up. We're passing that feedback to Workday when we receive it from you. So if you spot something you suspect isn't quite right, we have a feedback loop for that. Thank you for that update, Nick. That's great. Work stream leads, if they're in the silence, in the gaps, if there's anything you want to share about the activity your team is doing around enhancements or optimizations that you think the group will be interested in, on the finance side, any of the HR, Grace, perfect timing. Thank you. Let's hear it.
Of course, and I apologize, I'm having a glitch with my video today, so I'm trying not to wish I was on camera, but I just wanted to let everyone know, if you haven't registered yet, we're having an in-person training on June 1st at the School of Business, and it's designed for recruiters that do staff hiring. We're going to walk everyone through the entire process, and also we're going to have links for a new scribe that will allow you to jump to different portions and to different sections, and so some upgrades to some training tools. So thanks to the whole talent and recruitment team that has been working on that, as well as Wendy. So we will have some new resources available to you, and we will walk through the entire process. So it's a follow-up to the Heart of Campus presentation that some folks on this session may have attended, where we went through about compliance and requirements. And they were having a lot of questions about Workday. So we thought we would have a in-person session and walk everyone through those, but they'll also have the link where they can follow along with the different steps and actions. So we hope that you'll be able to attend. There are a few spots still available. We have a space that fits 60, and I think we're right at 50 plus so far. So if you're interested, please register, and we look forward to having you attend on June 1st. So thanks so much for allowing me the opportunity to share this. And I know that we'll make sure that we get those future things in the Workday Watch with Aaron. So if you didn't get a chance to see in the digest, we'll have those available for upcoming sessions. We're looking at probably in the fall to also do a follow-up related to, just using business processes in generals and working with the IT team on those. So thanks so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. I'm going to add a plug onto Grace's just so you have it top of mind if you're attending that session. Maybe we know recruiting, hiring, we get a swell in the fall. If you maybe go in with the mindset that you are an ambassador for the rest of your team, right? We want to develop this institutional knowledge. HR is going to do a great job pushing this out to that group of 60. But please take notes. Think about questions your colleagues might have that aren't in the room with you. Ask those questions on their behalf, and then take that information back to your team. So that way we're building a stronger community across the whole university and extend. It's like that degrees of separation, right? You're in the room, but think about how many people you can help when you take that information back to your respective departments and teams and colleagues, or share answers and Viva Engage if we see questions there. Let's take that and see how we can help others as well. Pass it on, pay it forward, however you want to say it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. So we look forward and share and take notes, and we're going to even have a wonderful parking lot. So if we get other questions that aren't part of our session, we'll know what things to look at for the future. So think of those ideas and suggestions, and we look forward to making improvements and partnering all together. So thanks so much for coordinating this today. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Grace. All right, we have a question in the chat from Pamela. She wants to know if we can, and I think Nick's already answered it, about security roles. Let's see.
Yeah, and basically the answer is, so security role assignments aren't necessarily readily available to most Workday users just because they're tied to security domains in the system. However, if you ever are in doubt about your security roles or would just like to know what you've got, feel free, please, to submit a Get Help ticket, and you can send it to my attention, and I can generate that report for you and send it on over in Workday.
Thank you, Nick. All right, Maeve, you're up.
Hi. I have a question. I got my ultimate answer from someone else. Thank you, Monica, for helping me with that. But I submitted several one-time payment requests. And I thought typically when I submit something, I get an email, some sort of notification that it's been successfully submitted. And in this case, I didn't. And I tried to search for them and I couldn't find them. I did a one-time payment : and then the name of the individual and some other iterations of that type of search, and I couldn't find them. But yeah, later I found out that you can get them in archives, everything you've submitted. But I guess my question is, should I have received a notification that I submitted that, just like when I submit, an SPCC or an expense report or anything else?
So I'm looking at the request one-time payment business process and the custom notifications. Right now, it's only the manager who receives a notification and have that email forwarded on when it's completed.
Okay.
We can add the initiator on there, that wouldn't be really hard to do. And I'm guessing that's probably common, especially for one-time payments that are typically entered on behalf of other people.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that would be great if a notification should be added, because I did check my settings to see, but I think I'm it's set up immediately for most of the things that I need. So it wasn't that, but okay, so I was looking for something that I wasn't going to be notified on anyway.
Yes,
So
yes,
okay.
but interestingly, it looks like the initiators on other emails, like if it gets denied, canceled, rescinded, or corrected, but that's not when it's completed. So I feel like
Yes.
that's an oversight. So we can go ahead and get that updated.
Okay,
and I'll
great.
get the ticket ready for that.
Yeah, thanks, Joey. My other related question on that is these one-time payments were all, I guess, PSAs, what we knew as PSAs before. So what I did was I included the old PSA form, because that form had a section where you could allocate different costing if they were split payments. Some of them were split payments. So is there a way, or maybe I missed it, but I couldn't find a way to split the allocation in the one-time payment form. So I did include it in the comments form, where I had in bold that it was a shared payment, and I put all the information there, and the designated code that I use is for the one that had the larger portion of the payment. Is that something that can be added, or it might already be in the works, to be able to have two sources for the funding on that?
Yes. So unlike in the banner path form where you're telling us what the percentage is in Workday, the one-time payment, it's actually telling you have to enter the dollar amount. So like, you're giving $1,000 and then you're split 50-50, then you're going to have to break it out 500 to this set of work tags and the other 500. So you'll just have to enter the same one-time payment, but then there's an add button on the bottom. And I believe the job aid might reference that information.
Okay, so I just put add, and that will open up an option for me to include another designated. Okay. All right, that's good to know. So I put everything in comments. So okay. Great.
I mean, for those that you submitted, unless they've been processed by payroll. Oh, well, hold on. I think they just finished wrapping up 510 to 524. So never mind. I was going to say you could ask for a correction to be made, but I think at this point, after it's already been processed through payroll, your best bet is probably payroll accounting adjustments.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't know on the payroll end, but on the budget end, they saw that the comment I had with the two designated accounts. So, but I guess I just need to it hasn't reached payroll yet. It's still, some of them are still run. The two that have, not all of them have split payments, but one of the two has not yet reached payroll.
So I would say, and I can't speak for budget, but if you all see those things, that should be sent back. And so you don't have to start that process completely from the beginning. And they should be catching that as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Joey.
Welcome.
Hey, Nihal, I want to put you on the spot. Do you have any updates that you're working with Team Finance on that you want to share? Cherie, I know you and Nihal work together a lot. Anything for the group that you're expecting improvements or changes to BPs in the near term that we can tell people about? And if not, that's okay too. Just curiosity question, not a challenge question.
Nothing on the BP side, but I'm also excited for an enhancement that I would like to do. So the dashboards, we had a conversation some time ago. So that's something I'm looking forward to. So that would help most of the function areas to make their work much more easier, having a glance on that.
Thank you. That's great. So one of those dashboards at the top that's at the top of Nihal's list is around grants and sponsored programs, is getting information at your fingertips a little easier, more readily available. And so we're trying to get that active and moving forward as quickly as possible, because we think that will be a win for all of those team members and colleagues who interact with grants and sponsored programs. Thank you, Nihal. Is Priyanka on the call? Priyanka, do you have anything?
Yes. So recently I'm working on the BPs for the accounting adjustment and verify capital bench project and supplier invoice BPs. So some of the changes have been moved to prod, and the supplier invoice we need to move that to prod. That is in progress testing.
That's awesome. And accounting adjustments are near and dear to so many colleagues across campus. Yes. When we have more information, specifics to share, we'll be sure to put that in a Workday watch, so you can watch for that. For those of you who may not have been introduced to Nihal and Priyanka, there's our relatively new colleagues, started in December, who are focused on helping us optimize Workday and just business processes and practices around the platform. Both come to William & Mary with Workday experience. And so we're very excited. They sit in IT, but really Priyanka, even though she's doing accounting adjustments right now, has expertise on the HCM side, and Nihal on the finance side. Although a lot of the work overlaps and intersects, so those focuses, shift as the priorities do. So thank you for those updates, you guys.
Donna. I have a quick question, Corinne.
Oh, go ahead.
I realize I actually have a question. I've never had to end a job in Workday before, but I do have a student who just graduated in May. Mm-hmm. So should I follow the terminate employee job aid for students? Are those the right steps to end that job?
I think the job aid that's on the launch website has a very wonderful flow chart that our UHR colleagues and student employment worked on together, because it's a little bit complicated.
Mm-hmm. Kensa, you're on the call. Do you have anything to add to that, or Grace? I saw you come off mute.
No, actually, I'm sorry. I was going to say the exact same thing Joey said, that follow the flow chart, because unfortunately it's not like a yes or no. It's a couple steps to that process.
Okay, so is this the ending a student job aid? Yeah, I see it now.
Okay.
I think the flow chart. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
And I asked because I would have used the terminate employee. So thank you.
Hey team, Kensa, Joey, Grace, do you get the sense that maybe we should mention that in the next Workday Watch, like, hey, yo, campus, if you had students end in with the spring semester finalizing, go ahead and end their jobs. Like, that's something we could plug in the watch if you think that's beneficial.
I think it would be very beneficial, especially since we extended like a 90-day grace period for those seniors that graduated. So it would remind them that they would still need to go through the process for those seniors before the fall semester starts.
Awesome.
Thanks.
I'm adding it to the list now, Kenza.
Sure thing. We can reinforce those habits we want to see people build, where we're keeping that data a little bit cleaner than maybe it was in Banner. No judgment, just saying. We ended up with some open student employment that was quite a long list. Aaron, before your question, Ghana, what do you think about mentioning our new training form here, so folks know about that?
Sure. We are getting ready to kick off training working groups that way, and it's a perfect timing, right, Corinne? Because it's like we've been in the system for almost a year now. And so people in areas and functional teams are going to start refreshing their materials, making sure it's still accurate, the more we know, and also build out training even further. So there is a working group of people, especially those that received the notice of a meeting. So thank you for accepting that meeting notice. But we will be meeting together just to start planning out like the next phase of, because I feel like we're stabilizing and training, but now we need to grow training even further out. And so that's what that training working group will help me do, especially because they are the subject matter experts. They know their topics. They've been working in the topics for working in it for 2 years, live a year. But just like I say, as we keep growing, they will be able to contribute even more. So look out for refreshes on your job aids as this group starts to come together. Of course, give them grace and time. It doesn't mean overnight. It might mean over time. So you will see. So, and you pull up a job aid, please look for revision dates for that as well, because as the training working group eventually gets to a job aid that they want to refresh, the date will be there. That's a special call out for those people that are printing job aids or bookmarking web pages. Please be aware that the job aids are living documents. So the updates and refreshes are being made on a consistent basis. This is a living document. But just getting back to the training working group, I'm excited to work with different people across campus. That way we can make sure you all on this Q&A have the most recent steps for just in time. So whenever you get stuck, you will have that there, along with working with UHR, building out lessons. So we can have definitely, just like as Grace announced, more in-person trainings, along with going deeper than just online office hours.
Thank you so much. One thing I'm most excited about, and I think I boldly said I made a commitment at the beginning of the project before we actually even kicked off around training, and that was making sure leadership really heard us as an employee base, that training was one of the most important things to us as we move forward, and centralizing that training experience, making sure we're covering all aspects of Workday for existing employees, but also new colleagues, because we don't have the luxury of overlap typically. That's more of an exception here at William & Mary. It's more common for an employee to join a team where that vacancy has existed, sometimes for a while, and they're coming into the job, and it's like the telephone game when you were a little kid and you whispered in the ear next to you that you either have to start over with some of that contextual understanding or business acumen, or rely on colleagues on the team, which we know that takes work to onboard a new employee. And so just maintaining that commitment to training is something that I continue to say, and all of the work stream leads, both in HR and finance, are really committed to that. I see it all the time, lots of energy, excitement. That session that Grace mentioned, we're really trying. So please be encouraged in that way. And also, I want to mention we've plugged Workday Community as a resource that's open to all employees. Get out there, search for materials. And if you come across where somebody is suggesting a Workday training opportunity or course, we're introducing a form to facilitate that process. The courses through Workday are not all free. We have a lot free that come with our Workday Success Plan. And so there's a ton of material that we have access to as Success Plan subscribers, but there are some paid classes too. Put in a ticket for a training if there's a class, even if it has a dollar amount next to it. We'll try to get you to that. Be thinking about your budget requests, work with your manager, like, hey, there's some Workday classes I really want to take next year. is there an opportunity for us to add a little money to the budget for that professional development and training? We'll probably have some kind of bill back model to cover that if we use all the credits that we're purchasing, or maybe the university will fund that centrally. I haven't figured that out yet, but I'll solve it. But either way, I don't want you to not take advantage of the opportunity if you've come across something when you're on community that you think will really help you do your job better and be more successful. So be thinking about that too.
And Corinne, I just want to jump in and just really quickly thank everyone up until this point. Quite a few of our end users have tested training documents and have stepped in some gaps as well. And I just want to thank all of you all to help making sure that the training is on the tracks now across universities. So, and then as our functional teams as well, especially, thank you for being in the trenches with us, but all of you, the whole community, Corinne, it takes the whole village to make this work, and I'm grateful for the whole village. Thank you again.
Martha put a screenshot of her reporting example into the chat, and just poking around, that this is totally not anything that has to do with my area of the world, so forgive me for poking, but it looks like the budget to actuals reports in Workday itself also look at the expense report date and not at that, whatever it was called last. I found it in the system, the last
the approval date.
Yeah, the journal last update, I think is what it's called. So I think it's not going to matter whether she's reporting in the system or out of Click. They're both going to use that expense report date, but I can see how that would be problematic for her, because she would have to constantly be going back to update. So I don't know if there could be an option in the Click report that you could choose for period, whether you wanted to use the
approval date,
line effective date versus the journal last update date.
Quick question. So when I read that, it seems very logical to me. So obviously I'm missing information that the report date would be the report date, not the approval date. Can you help me better understand, and for our colleagues who might get creative with the reporting side of this, why it's Martha, for the gift reimbursements, why that gets wonky?
So we have to pull backup documentation, for instance. So like we had a big meeting this morning on how we're going to move all the money around from the foundation side to the college side, for instance.
Okay.
So let's say every 60 days or every 30 days, or in this instance, we're going to be pulling months worth of data. And we have to pull from Click or Workday backup documentation that shows all of our expenses. And we have to make sure that that amount matches the amount that we're requesting the foundation transfer to the college side. So if I've got things that are hanging out there, right,
that aren't approved
and haven't transacted through the system for that month, they aren't going to show up, numbers aren't going to match. Or I could request 1 month to have the money reimbursed, and then the next month I go in and there's going to be more money there that I thought I had already captured or requested. Because if it falls on that cusp of when you're pulling the data and it's not real time, let's say, the numbers aren't going to match. And then for me personally, right, I go in and pull for May. I go in May 1st, let's say, and I pull for April. I'm going to have to constantly be going back a month or whatever it is, right, to capture those expenses, because it's not going to show up when I pull for May 1st. But if I go in on May 8th or 9th, right, and pull it, then it's going to show up.
Roger that. I understand. Thank you. And quick question about the movement money part. Is this using the intercompany payments mechanism that we're trying to implement, or is this
Yes.
Outside of that, it is that. Okay. I
would I would imagine that could potentially affect that. Yes. Dan or Heather could maybe answer a little bit more, but we're all going to be going in and pulling all this stuff, and we have stuff that's sitting on the cusp, or from when the date we pull, we might not be capturing everything we need to capture.
Thank you. I'm wondering if we can discuss that with the mini project team. That's Ivan is leading our intercompany payments project team, and maybe we surface this with Alchemy, who's helping us with that engagement, to see if we can improve the process part, or that could inform the reporting opportunity. So I'm going to ask Ivan. I just checked. I don't see him on the call. But we can ask him to watch the recording at this part and take that back to workshop with that team. Thank you for bringing that up, Martha and Catherine, for your help. While somebody's getting up the nerve to ask their next question, I'll drop the seed again. Is the session helpful? We want to do another one. If so, what frequency? Drop that in the chat. So that way our change management team can think through that and try to meet you with what resources are most helpful. But so if you put that feedback in the chat, we'll let somebody ask another question, if there are any.
All right. Well, we can go ahead and wrap things up if there aren't any other questions.
Hey, Erin, why don't we give a really brief student update to the squad, since we have them all here. Folks, Workday student, it's happening. We're getting ready. Literally, it's called readiness. Just met with our partner, Alchemy, was awarded the contract to be our Workday student implementation partner. The project management office has connected with them briefly. One meeting so far to start the logistics. We're building out that team, the 50 billion channel one that many of you were active in for the platform implementation. So all of that is starting. Summer is going to be focused on readiness. Those core project team members across our student services teams will start in looking at how William & Mary does business today, which will inform the actual project that is going to kick off in earnest in January, and it's going to run 3 years. So if you're retiring in 2027, not a lot to worry about with Workday Student. We won't start adopting production stuff until 2029. So just wanted to give you that update that we are active, and you'll hear more about it. Probably not for a while, because again, this readiness window is very specific to those student work streams. But since we're here, transparency is a tenet of our Workday project implementation, both platform and student, but also how we're operating. And so I just thought, since we had you, we'd share that information as well. Erin, anything to add there?
No, that was great. Wendy did post in the chat and ask that for a link to request training. I think she's talking about the form. Ghana, if you could provide that.
Yeah, I will probably, after we say our goodbyes, I'll put the steps out there. I'm just trying to grab it real quick.
Great. Thank you. All right. Well, like Corinne said, if you all could give some feedback on how helpful these sessions are, if you'd like to see more and how often you'd like to see them. Again, the chat will stay active, so you all can you can post that feedback there. And keep an eye on the Workday Watch. We are going to start sending that out monthly now and kind of dial that back a little bit this summer. So the next one should be coming out next week. I got a lot of good content ideas just today in this this session. So thank you all. And with that, I think we can wrap up.